Hello, this is Sean here from Global Vending. Today I'm just going to do a quick video on how to test the refrigeration units on direct power. It's one of the easiest ways to tell if your refrigeration's working. See, pretty much every standard soda machine will have a main machine power plug. Like we'll look over here. Every machine has, a power plug. And this is the main power plug for the machine. Now to test the refrigeration, we want to leave this unplugged. Alright, because we're going to bypass the machine, whether it's a digital or manual thermostat. Leaving this unplugged, we can bypass everything. And then you want to grab an extension cord, and you want to run an extension cord directly to the refrigeration unit. See, whether you have a standard Royal vending machine or a Dixie Narco, the refrigeration units all have their own separate power cable. Now, this is a Royal refrigeration unit. This is a Royal vending machine. You can usually tell too because that kind of has this circular half moon condenser here. Now, what you want to do, grab your extension cord, unplug the machine, grab your extension cord, and then down here in the bottom left you have like a little power splitter. Now you see that plug right there? This is the standard plug for the refrigeration. So what you're going to do is you're going to plug this into the extension cord, and this runs directly to this refrigeration unit here. Alright, it's kind of wrapped around there, but you see. Alright, so we got the vending machine unplugged. We're using the extension cord just on the refrigeration unit. Now, as soon as that gets power, this refrigeration should kick on. And what you want to do is let it run for like 5-10 minutes or so, and it should just keep running. So that's another thing. If the starter's bad on your unit, like when this gets direct power on the extension cord, this should just keep running, never stop. If it stops or never kicks on, runs for a few minutes, kicks off, then you want to look at the starter. Either the starter in the back or the dome is your issue. And let's just take a look at it so you can see. And we sell replacement starters. So right here on the back of the refrigeration, see, this whole thing is the starter section. Now you can get a 3-in-1, basically just like literally like you break and rip this off. It all comes apart, and you'll have 3 little prongs. I have a separate video which I'll link below. So if that is the case where you plug your refrigeration on direct power with the extension cord and it doesn't kick on at all, or it kicks on and kicks off after a few minutes, well, then you probably want to start with the starter. There's a chance that your compressor dome is bad, but a lot of times it ends up being this like little starter relay section there. So I have a separate video that shows how to wire it on. It's not that hard. But let's say your refrigeration, you gave it direct power, okay, and it's just running. Well, what we want to do is give it like 5-10 minutes, and underneath this slanted chute, where the drinks slide down, underneath of that, there's you see there with the copper coils and all the fins, that's what we call the evaporator. Let me see if I can get my hand in there. So back there, that should get ice cold. It should get real frosty too. It should get like all frosty, and these little copper lines should get all frosty, the fins should get frosty, and that should be ice cold to the touch. Not like, kind of cold metal always feels cold. I mean, it should be ice cold, because that's the only part in the machine that actually gets cold, is that long evaporator. It goes pretty much almost the whole length of this. After 5-10 minutes, if that's not ice cold back there, you're low on Freon, you sprung a leak, assuming that your refrigeration unit's just been running the whole time and it didn't kick off. So that's really how you tell direct power, or that's how you direct power test your refrigeration. And the reason we leave the actual vending machine unplugged is it'll bypass like any thermostats. Like if there's a manual thermostat, it'll bypass any kind of machine settings that would get in the way. So this is an easy, quick way to just tell if your refrigeration unit has Freon and if the starter's good. If that starter's good, it's just going to stay running until you unplug it. And you don't want to, when you do this test, you don't want to leave this unit running for, you know, more than 10-15 minutes. If you forget and 20-30 minutes goes by, that's, you know, you're not necessarily going to break it, but you don't want to just leave this running, because again, it'll never shut off as long as it's on direct power, and it will blow the deck, but usually it takes a long time, you know. So 10-15 minutes. If that thing doesn't get cold after 10-15 minutes, it's not going to get cold. It's low on Freon or something. So this is on a Royal machine. The power plug's right here on the top of this little splitter. So once you're done with the test, you know, you just plug this back in. You plug this back in, and then, you know, you plug your machine back in, and everything's hooked up back to normal. Normally, if you had a manual thermostat, they would be like right here. This one doesn't have one. It's all digital on this particular machine. Some of these Royals do have a manual thermostat. Usually that'll be right here with a dial. And let me show you here now on a Dixie Narco machine. That was a Royal, but it's the same principle. You know, this one looks a little different. But this one has the refrigeration power cable right here in the left. So again, a lot of the machines, it's in the bottom left somewhere. So, you know, this machine's running, you know, we're not doing the test on this one, but we would unplug the machine, run an extension cord to this plug here, which runs to the refrigeration. And then here you can get a little bit better picture. So you would let it run for 10 minutes and then feel. See, right now, this thing's been running, it's ice cold. This isn't frosty because the machine fans are running right now. So, you know, this machine's just running like normal. The machine fans are running, and it sucks that cold up and, you know, blows it around inside the machine. But if we didn't have those fans running, this would be like all covered in frost and everything. And you can still see there's still some frost on these copper lines back here. But that's pretty much it. The last thing I'll show you, just while I have another machine here. This is another Royal, but the principle is the same. Whether you have a Dixie like this, the one we just looked at, this is what it looks like when it's empty. When you need to pull a refrigeration unit out, fairly simple to do. There's not a whole lot to it. So this one here, it's completely empty. All you're going to do is, there's normally a slanted chute here, you know, where the drink slides down. You're going to remove that. There's usually just a little bracket right here with 1 or 2 screws. You unscrew it right here from the front, and then you just pull that whole chute right out. Okay, so you get the slanted chute out of the way, and then once you have that slanted chute out, you know, you have a little plate here. There's just a couple little wires and like a copper pipe, you know, that would go to that evaporator. You take that plate off, and then you unscrew the left side of the evaporator, the right side of the evaporator. You know, there's just a couple screws up there, the little plate, and then the base where the main refrigeration part is, there's just a few little bolts that hold it down to the base of the machine. So, and then it all pulls out like one piece, you know, but you have to unscrew the bottom and the top because you have a copper line that runs up to this evaporator. So you got to pull the top and the bottom out together all in one shot. So really that's all there is. It takes like 15 minutes, and you just undo this main slanted chute, take that out, then unscrew the evaporator, the bottom part, slide it on out, and then slide the new one in, screw it all back down, and then you plug the refrigeration, you know, back in on the top, on the bottom left, or whatever machine you have. There'll be a little socket for the refrigeration. So that's really it. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We thank you for choosing Global Vending Group.